Hello, today is World Refugee Day, and I've been impressed recently by reading about three projects which try to help refugees to express themselves through their creativity. Um, one called The Odyssey is based in Athens, and the participants are mostly young, mostly men. They had a problem recruiting women to join it, but eventually they got about 30 young people from all sorts of different countries to come together for this project to create a performance of the Greek tragedy Odyssey. Of course, a tragedy about the journeyings through foreign lands of Odysseus. And through the rehearsals, which they did alongside local people, um, enabling them to integrate a bit in Greek, so enabling them to come to terms with the language. It was obviously the language of the play was obviously a simplified form of Greek, through this process of working, of learning their parts, of getting into the role, of sharing together in the production of this play, they began to be integrated more into the community and find some way of expressing, through the way they presented this particular play, their own experience of journeying and wandering. Then there's the project called Jamitna, which means tent, and it's about from a group of people called the Sawaris well, they were expelled from their own land by Morocco in 1976, and so they're now refugees in Algeria. And this group of people, mostly women, have produced a project called the Tent, because in the tent, sewn to the inside walls of the tent, are people's melfas, which is a kind of garment worn by this particular group of people, and these garments, colourful garments, are sewn to the side of the tent, making a wonderful tapestry. But attached to each one is a QR code, so that anybody coming into the project can look, use their phone to access the QR code and learn the history of the particular woman whose Malfa this was. One of them is a blood-stained one, bloodstained because of the way she was beaten up when she was protesting. But they all tell their story, and these women have been able to find this particular way of expressing their experiences in an artistic, creative way. And then there's Hear Me Out, which is a UK-based charity. It's a musical project, goes into detention centres, immigration centres. This band of 6 or 7 musicians who all themselves experienced what it is like to be a refugee, and they do workshops, and they enable the inmates of the detention centres to express themselves through music, either through composing, through singing, through playing, to get into a creative form, something of their experience, and it helps them to feel they've got some value because they could contribute to this music, which is sometimes recorded and sold as a way of raising money for the charity. I was just impressed by the way in which helping people who are in this terrible situation of having had to leave their home countries, helping them to find meaning, to find a way of expressing themselves and their experience, how valuable that must be to all those people. One of them described this kind of creative response to their situation as a gift of paradise. And so I just thought today, as well as remembering Refugee Day, it was worth just celebrating our own creativity in the way in which, through different ways, and we all have our different ways of being creative. Mine is doing these videos, but whatever ours is, to celebrate the way in which this enables us to express something of ourselves, whether it's cooking, whether it's writing poetry, whether it's organising activities, whatever it is. There are all sorts of different ways in which we can be creative. but it helps us to find some values and meaning in our life and to express something of who we are.